Today we're talking about a case that shook the whole of South Africa in 2020. One thing pregnant women always do, or almost every pregnant woman do when they are about to put to bed, or way before they're about to put to bed and they know they're pregnant, is to shop for baby items, baby stuff to get ready for the baby. And they love doing that with support and care, especially from the partner that impregnated them or family and friends. And the same goes for Pule. Pule was an expectant mother. She was a 28-year-old woman that was expecting a baby, and she received a call from her boyfriend, that is the father of her baby, the one that impregnated her. I told her to come out to, let both of them go out to shop for baby items in preparation for the baby. I don't know if I mentioned that she was 8 months pregnant at the time. So she was expecting very, very soon. Now, I first said that the both of them got into an argument, or another source said, oh, they went to his apartment, but she didn't want to stay there and was feeling uncomfortable. And her boyfriend booked a cab to take her back home. But unfortunately, this was the last time Kumi was seen alive. As the next time she was found hanging from a tree with a gunshot wound in her body. Hi, my name is Dolapo and welcome back to the channel. If you're interested in true crime stories or you care about bringing awareness to insane cases that happened all over the world, then you are here at the right place. Please, viewer discretion is advised. If you are sensitive and you cannot take in the news or death or the death of an unborn child, please kindly skip or just tread with caution. Today's episode is a case that shook the whole of South Africa, that even got the president of the country involved, and he reiterated the fact that South Africa is quote unquote not a safe place to be. Not my words, but their president's word at the time. So, without further ado, let's get into the life of Pule. Now, Pule was born in 1992 in Middleland, Soweto, South Africa. She lived with her aunt and her uncle after the passing or the death of her parents, and people would call or would describe Pule as an energetic woman that was focus driven, also family oriented, and just had her eye at the goal. She was also a very compassionate person. The reports of her being there for her sister after the passing of their parent, and she ensured that the journey or the grief wasn't overwhelming to me, for her sister was just there for her sister, and she was surrounded with love. Immediately she was taken by her aunt and her uncle. They were a family that stayed with her all through. Now, she had big dreams to work in the beauty and fashion industry. So after she graduated from high school, she worked as a makeup artist in MAC Cosmetics, looking to go bigger in her career. So we can say Kuri was a woman that knew what she wanted and went for what she wanted, and people also loved her. Like, she was surrounded with love and she was an energetic. She was just that woman. Now, she unfortunately did not know that meeting her boyfriend named Shoba would be the cause for her death years later. So in 2018, she met with Shoba and they connected. Now, he's an IT guy that works as a data analyst, but I know he's in IT, and they clicked. But rumors have it that Shoba was a womanizer that loves to party and have fun. So exactly how their lifestyles came together, we don't know. Unfortunately for Puli, she had no clue that Shoba had a partner, a person that he was more interested in, and would eventually plan to marry her, like engage her and then have marriage preparations with another woman. Shoba said himself that the relationship was a casual relationship, but Pule did not see it that way. She saw it as, this is the man that I am in love with and am going to see through this relationship. So along the line during their relationship, she got pregnant. Now, Shoba wasn't really excited about the pregnancy. He didn't want a baby. He already had someone intended to marry. To him, Pule was just a casual relationship, what people would call a side chick. So he told her to abort the, to go for an abortion. And even though she was saddened by this and she did not exactly want to have an abortion, she went ahead with the abortion. And so she went ahead with the abortion, their relationship continued, while Shoba also continued to plan his wedding. Fast forward to late 2019, Pule got pregnant again. And this time around, she did not want to have an abortion. She wanted to have a child with her boyfriend. Shoba wasn't fond of this. This was going to ruin his plan, his marriage plans. It's his fiancée. So he provided little to no help during the pregnancy. She would literally beg him to come for doctor's appointments or to, drop monetary or financial support, in getting ready for the baby. But Shoba wasn't exactly interested. What Shoba had in mind was different. His only solution and his only way to get out of this and hide his relationship with Pule from his fiancée was to murder her. And so he set out a plan. He contracted with a killer, or he hired a killer named, I can't pronounce this name. I'm very sorry, but I'm going to call him M. I do not want to butcher the name. So he hired M to carry out a job. This was in May of 2020 when Pule was obviously pregnant and the baby was out already. So M came up with a plan to send a fake job interview to Pule and lure her into whatever place he planned on luring her into and kill her. But my babe was smart. She knew, nah, this isn't legit. Like she could smell the shadiness from the job interview with miles away, so she did not go. And this ruined Shoba and N's crown to execute her. So they came up with another plan, which eventually and unfortunately was successful. Now, remember I said Shoba was doing all of this to hide the fact that he had, or he was expecting a child from his fiancée because they was planning on getting married soon. So the next month, which was June 2020, Kule received a phone call from her boyfriend and told her to come out so they could go buy baby items, a preparation for the baby. And I cannot just imagine or just think about how excited Play could have been because she really wanted the baby. Shoba had built giving little to no support to this process. And when he reaches out, we're like, okay, I'm ready now. Let's go buy baby stuff. I'm super sure she would have been excited because she did show up and they did go out to buy the stuff. And some sources said they got into an argument or they had a fight and he sent her home from his apartment complex. So from where they went shopping, they went to his apartment complex and he booked for her a cab to go back to her house. There's a CCTV footage of him escorting her from outside his house to the quote unquote cab he hailed for her. Now, Pule didn't book the cab. He booked the cab. Shobaku booked the cab. Now, we see the both of them in the footage standing together, talking. God knows what they were talking about. Some people said they were arguing. I'm not so sure. It didn't exactly look like they were arguing. Okay, so the both of them were standing in front of his apartment complex or his residence, and the car pulls over. And she didn't really hesitate. She just walked to the driver's side, probably to confirm that, oh, this was the person that they booked as their cab also for security reasons, And she got into the cab, and this was the last time she was seen alive. Unknown to Pule, the driver of the cab was M. He and Shoba had planned together that Pule would go into the cab and from there is going to execute Shoba's 8 months pregnant girlfriend. Pule's aunt, on the other end, the next day didn't get a call from Pule, did not see Pule, she didn't call on the next day, which is out of character for her. So she filed a missing person report and began to read alarm about her niece's whereabouts. But on July 8th, a municipal worker that was doing their doing his or daily routine of cleaning the field, came across Pule's body hanging from a tree with a gunshot wound. M executed her. We do not know the chain of events, but looking at it, he probably or he most likely shot her first and then went ahead to hang her body on the tree to stage a suicide, which doesn't make any sense because someone that wants to commit suicide would not shoot themselves before going to hang themselves. So it was shady from the get-go. Kule's body was discovered on June 8th, 4 days after she was seen alive. Now, evidence or autopsy reports showed that she was still alive when she was hung from the tree, and she and Adebi had no chance of survival. When news of Kuli's murder came out, people were rightfully outraged. It was a sensitive period in the country. Femicide cases had been rising all over the world, not even only South Africa at the time. And it was also COVID period. Even though it was COVID period, people came out in droves demanding justice, demanding that the police should work and do their work to find the killer, and the police got to work. So upon identifying, like when the police identified police body, they got into swift action and they immediately questioned our boyfriend, the father of our baby. And he had a perfect alibi that yes, on June 4th, she came into his apartment or they met together and then he walked her to her car and he saw her drive off in the car. But the police wasn't buying any of that. So they got access to the CCTV footage and the demeanor of Pule seemed off in the video. And the police knew that something was off about this footage. Something like they just trusted their instincts and it was not even through the plate, like they could not see the plate number of the car, but they knew to trace the owner of the car that she left in, and it was registered under the name of the girlfriend of M. And so they apprehended M. They arrested him and charged him because he was the last person to be seen with her, or she entered his car and that was the last time she was seen alive. So he Baba broke under pressure. He immediately called out Shoba's name and said he was hired by Shoba to kill her. And he told them, he narrated the whole thing. They applied to kill her and the reason behind, the motive behind it. There's something called in law, actus reus and mens rea. Yeah, there are two important elements in a criminal record that would determine whether or not the person is guilty of the crime. Now, actus rea means action, I remember correctly, and mens rea means motive. So, if a person does an action and had motive, then the person is definitely going to be liable for the crime. And this was what M spewed to the police. He told them he was paid by Shoba and his motive was to hide the pregnancy from his fiancée. And this happened in 2021. Immediately they got a confession out of M, they went straight for Shoba. Now M immediately also pled guilty to guilty to murder. But Shoba said he was innocent. He denied everything, his involvement in the death of Pule or even in knowing it. After a long and you know what, when Shoba was arrested, the whole country was shocked because what do you mean? The man that she trusted the most, the man that was going to be the father of her baby, had a hand in her death and then was pleading innocence with all of the evidence against him, especially the CCTV footage of her working toward the car that M was in. And they were also able to find ties with M and Shoba because there was a call recording of them concocting, or like one of their phone calls, they then concocting the plan to murder her. The judge did not buy into any of the BS that Shoba was saying. It was the prosecution worked their asses off to prove that he was guilty. He climbed the whole thing. M also confessed and narrated his action from kidnapping her to shooting her and then hanging her body leaving her and her baby to buy. And so in July 2022, the court found Shuba guilty and sentenced him to life imprisonment.
Mr. Shorber, can you stand up, please? For all these reasons, Mr. Shorber, I am enjoined by the statute to apply the ordinary sentence for an offence of this nature. You will spend the rest of your natural life in prison unless the parole authorities consider you fit for release in the fullness of time. Accordingly, on count 1 of the indictment, I sentence you to life imprisonment. You may sit down. Thank you. Is there anything further, Mr. Mohammed?
Now, see, honestly, I am all for capital punishments, but because he did not directly murder her, and more of conspiracy to murder, then he was going to get life imprisonment. But God knows that he deserves the capital punishment, honestly. So that is the case, and the case of Pule and how her boyfriend planned to murder her and eventually succeeded in his plans. This was a heavy achievement case in South Africa when it happened. There were hashtags everywhere. There were protests, there were movements, activists were out shouting and just telling the government to do better to protect women. Yeah, Kule's family also said that they believe justice had been served, but honestly, me- there is no amount of justice that is going to fill up the space of losing a loved one, especially something like Pule that was full of love, that had her dreams. I was chasing her dreams, careers, and goals. So our family did not want Pule to be remembered as that pregnant or as a pregnant woman that was killed. So they started a foundation that represents the fight against gender-based violence. So a foundation was named after her, and it represents, or it's a place for victims of gender-based violence, and a name has been used to increase awareness. So this is the case of Pule and how it shook the whole country, because not only was she a woman that was full of life, she also had a baby that she was expecting and was happy to have, and that was cut short by a man she trusted, loved, and wanted to probably spend the rest of her life with. When I was researching this case, I just felt this heavy grief in my chest, in my heart, because it's just insane. I can't even concoct any conspiracy for this episode. I want to know what you guys think about this case. And if there are other cases you want me to talk about, do let me know. To support this channel and also spread awareness and get this story out to people, sharing stories like this, which is actually very important to highlight the ills and flaws in society and in the whole world and the whole. So yeah, do subscribe to the channel. You can share this video, and I need the all. Stay safe. I will see you in my next episode.